Well, we're in the Dorfman dock. You've done a lot of shows here?
I have done a lot of shows here. I think this is maybe my 6th show in the Dorfman.
You know that space really well, and it's a space that is so transformative.
And you've worked in there a lot as well, actually, haven't you?
I did 3 shows and they were also like in the rounds.
It's not a naturalistic play, what we've made. I think we've always been interested in expressionism as form, and also I think this space has allowed us to do that.
Automatically, when we read the play, we had a sense that we wanted to sort of involve the audience as much as possible, but also like sort of wrap the audience around the action. And I think that works really well in the Dorfman because it is so intimate, and it's sort of like you're a community. The audience sort of being able to see each other is quite exciting.
It almost feels the same with like the actors. It feels like, you know, once they're in that space, and also because you only got one entrance and one exit, it's like only one way out. It does also feel like once they're in, they're like trapped in.
We played around with that a lot, actually, thinking where, you know, do people enter through the sort of audience entrances onto stage, or do they start in the audience and come up onto stage? We talked a lot about different ways in which we might, introduce the performers into the space.
It was really sort of declared, I guess. And I think that felt really important in terms of the style and tone of what we were doing, that everything felt very deliberate and felt like they were announced, I suppose. And I think there's something about, because of the steepness of the sides, of how far the entrance, that kind of platform needed to be, that it meant that people were really in the space before they were sort of actively in the room. And I think there is something about those sort of shared intentions that I think we've had across working together a few times now, where we're really interested in, you know, look at what the mechanics of theatre are, has always felt really exciting. It's often such a breakthrough moment in the rehearsal process where the collective understanding of what the space is translates onto kind of like the style and tone of the work as well, I think. And I think so many of the images that we find in those sessions end up making it into the sort of final cut of the show that we make together. Whereas the character relationships, and it's sort of about how people relate to each other, to the physical space and to the objects in the space.
I think the rehearsal, I mean, in general, for everybody to like understand the concept of the design first, but then how we are going to make it work for individually and collectively. To see how we had to then share this space with also the 3 tables. And then we did some exploring, going up and down the tables. So there was a lot of moving the table. So we did quite a lot of that, and then play a little bit with props.
The clothes rail, that wasn't in the original design, and we put that in after one of those sessions because it suddenly felt like
costume on it.
Yeah, and you see the images as well, and you see and it's like, and maybe, I'm sure there was other props, or the way that we used certain props, or things that we were thinking, oh, maybe we're not sure whether that's going to be on the stage or not, or where it's going to be on stage.
I think as a wider gang and creative team,
yeah, completely.
Everyone is there a lot, right? I think sort of, you know, Giles, our sound designer, and Angus, composer, and Elliot, lighting design, you know, like they were in the room much more through rehearsals than I see other designers often.
Yeah.
And I think that's sort of really integral to our way of making, which is about a bit about trial and error. It is about everybody having a really clear specialism in their field, but then there being a big overlap in terms of expertise, wisdom, and taste. We try to have quite an honest feedback system, don't we, in terms of like, and I think that's why I'm constantly asking the question, how does it feel? And I suppose I often feel as if my role is partly there to be an outside eye, and to kind of go, well, is what you're feeling on the inside the same as what I'm feeling or seeing on the outside? Hold on tightly, let go lightly, right? Like, I think really pursue the thing that you believe in until the point where you go, oh, I don't know if it quite works.
Yeah.
And then you have to go, okay, cool. What's next? I think you have to have like the next idea. You need to have a plan before you let go of the thing.
Yeah, I think isn't it like a little bit like the conflict between like what your imagination can create in your heads and the realistic, you know, thing that you actually like have to work with.
But I think that's why I like making as a gang, is because everyone, ideally, well, in an ideal world, everybody is full of ideas, right? And everybody has multiple answers to the same question. So then it's about choosing what answer or what solution feels most useful. You're in so many more rooms across the year than I am as a director, right? I'm only ever in my own room, whereas you guys are in so many other people's rooms, working on so many other shows, that it's really great to be able to kind of borrow and steal from other people's shows and other processes, right? And I think that's the really exciting thing about being able to make together.
Actually, like, my favourite part of the job is collaborating with others. It's not when I'm in my studio on my own. I enjoy creating spaces, and you're the same as well. And I think you enjoy working in those spaces too, but the spaces that have that room to sort of allow play and allow exploration in rehearsals and be involved in and assist with that like process of making the work in the room.
Everyone's got an opinion, haven't they?
They do.